You know what they say about India, right? It's a large growth opportunity, a place where the world wants to be, the decade of India and the country of the future. These are the words, right? So let's get granular and be ready to explore the incredible world of the Indian consumers. This is the anatomy of India's consumption. Now, you already know that India has a population of 1.4 billion people. That's a lot of people, right? And out of that, a whopping 850 million already use the internet, and 600 million of them use it through smartphones. That's as many people as who own PAN cards in India. In fact, a whole host of them are pretty active online. We've got 450 million online gamers, 350 million people who do online transactions, and 185 million online shoppers. But here's the catch. Mature regular users like you and me are just 45 million. And that 45 million accounts for most of the online consumption. In fact, if you look at mutual fund investors and credit card holders, they belong to this mature online user pool itself. And that's where the fascinating facts about disproportionate contribution from a small clutch of Indian consumers lie. I mean, did you know that just 1% of Indians account for 45% of all the flight passengers that you may encounter? And only 5% of Zomato users are responsible for a whopping 33% of all the orders that are placed on the app. Even UPI, 6.5% of UPI users are responsible for 44% of the transactions. And that's mainly because of the income difference. Just 1% of Indians take home a staggering 22% of India's income. Now, with 600 million smartphones and so many screens, let's talk about media consumption, because Indians are consuming content like never before. TV has a reach of 900 million. Radio has a reach of 750 million. But smartphones, while they have a reach of 600 million, it's growing at 12%. That's nearly twice as fast as TV and 4 times faster than radio and print. But you know what's growing fastest? Short form content, all those reels, etc. that you watch. It's growing at an impressive 26% CAGR. That's nearly twice as fast as how smartphones are growing. So obviously ad spends will now move towards digital. Digital has already become king. They have a revenue share of 47% from all the ad spends that are made and a time share of 46%. And the good old boy TV still holds a significant chunk with 32% revenue share and a time share of 40%. Let's talk about Indian shopping then. What are people buying online? Fashion takes the cake. 40 to 45% of online shoppers indulge in fashion. Electronics and general merchandise, that follows closely with about 20 to 25% each. And while mobile phones are growing fast, they account for 5 to 10% of the overall e-commerce in India. E-commerce in India is growing, but it's still 7% of overall sales, and this compares with 14% globally. Online grocery sales have increased 4 times post-COVID, but still make up for just 1% of the market. And interestingly, over 60% of fashion shoppers in India come from tier 2 plus cities. Talk about the Bharat opportunity. However, the risk in e-commerce is, have we hit a growth ceiling at higher income levels? You just take a look at e-commerce penetration, overall is 19%, indicating huge potential. But for households that have money, the ones over 6 lakh rupees per annum as income, e-commerce penetration is 37%. And this increases as we go higher on the income curve. So that's a trend that we need to monitor. So there you have it, folks. India is a land of immense possibilities, a tech-savvy population, a thriving startup ecosystem, and an appetite for growth like no other. But also, it's a land of income inequality, too few accounting for most consumption, and possible growth saturation at higher income levels. A land of opportunities with a tinge of risks. That's the anatomy of the Indian consumer market for you.